We are discussing about maintenance of pregnancy and embryonic development. So we shall discuss now about other information. Human pregnancy, it lasts for about 280 days or 40 weeks, and this period is called gestation period. The whole of the pregnancy period, it is called as gestation period, and it takes about 280 days to 80 days, or it can be 40 weeks. It can be divided for convenience into three trimesters and 3 months each. That is the gestation period. It is divided into three trimesters of 3 months each. The first trimester is the main period of organogenesis. The first 3 months, it is the main period of organogenesis where organs are developed, and the body organs, namely heart, limbs, lungs, liver, and external genital organs, are well developed during this first trimester. So the fetus completes all this development of all these organs during the first 3 months. By the end of the second trimester, the face is well formed. Okay, that is by the end of second trimester, it refers to sixth. By the end of sixth month, the face is well formed with features, eyelids and eyelashes, eyes blink, body is covered with fine hair, muscle tissue develops, and bones become harder. So these are the changes that occur at the end of the second trimester. The fetus is fully developed and is ready for delivery by the end of the ninth month. That is end of third trimester. During pregnancy, the placenta, it acts as a temporary endocrine gland. This is what I explained already. Placenta acts as a temporary endocrine gland. That is from the time of that is during the period of gestation. It acts as a temporary endocrine gland. Once it is formed, it behaves like endocrine gland, secreting many hormones that help in the maintenance of the pregnancy, and also it helps in the embryonic development. So placenta produces large quantities of human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin, also called shortly HCG. Human chorionic gonadotropin and human chorionic somatomammotropic, which is called HCS, human chorionic somatomammotropic, or human placental lactogen, that is HPL, and estrogens and progesterone, which are essential for a normal pregnancy. So all these hormones are secreted from placenta. A hormone called relaxin is also secreted during the later phase of pregnancy, which helps in relaxation of the pelvic ligaments at the time of parturition. That is at the time of childbirth. Parturition refers to childbirth. At the time of childbirth, relaxin is produced so that it results in the relaxation of the pelvic ligament, so that birth of the baby will become easier. It should be noted that HCG, HPL and relaxin, they are produced only during pregnancy. In addition, during pregnancy, the level of other hormones like estrogen and progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. is increased several folds in the maternal blood. So maternal blood also shows increased quantity of these hormones. During pregnancy, maternal blood shows a hike in the level of these hormones like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. These hormones are essential for supporting fetal growth. So parturition is the completion of pregnancy and giving birth to the baby. Parturition refers to completion of pregnancy and it giving birth to the baby. The series of events that expel the infant from the uterus is collectively called labor. The series of events that expel the infant from the uterus is collectively called labor. Throughout pregnancy, the uterus undergoes periodic episodes of weak and strong contractions. Pregnancy undergoes contractions. It may be weak or strong. These contractions are called Braxton Hicks contractions and lead to false labor. And this is considered as false labor. These contractions, which are called Braxton Hicks contractions, lead to false labor. As the pregnancy progresses, increase in the estrogen concentration promotes uterine contractions. So as pregnancy progresses, uterine contraction also the it promotes estrogen concentration. It leads to uterine contractions. So estrogen is very much useful in promoting the uterine contractions. These uterine contractions facilitate molding of the fetus and downward movement of the fetus. So what happens is these contractions it helps to mold the fetus. Mold it refers to that is the shaping up of the head of the fetus so that it can move easily through the birth canal. So the uterine contractions facilitate molding of the fetus, that is shaping up of the head of the baby. So instead of being round, it becomes little elongated so that it can move easily through birth canal. So and downward movement of the fetus. So these are caused due to uterine contractions. Molding and downward movement of the fetus, it is caused by uterine contractions. The descent of the fetus causes dilation of cervix, of the uterus and vaginal canal, resulting in a neurohumoral reflex called fetal ejection reflex or Ferguson reflex. That is the descent that is coming out, okay, moving down through the cervix or the birth canal. That is the fetus, it moves through cervix and through and vaginal canal. It results in a neurohumoral reflex called fetal ejection reflex or Ferguson reflex. This initiates the secretion of oxytocin from the neurohypophysis, which in turn brings about the powerful contraction of the uterine muscles and leads to the expulsion of the baby through the birth canal. This initiates the secretion of oxytocin from the neurohypophysis, which in turn brings about powerful contractions or violent contractions of the uterine muscles, and it leads to the expulsion of the baby through the birth canal. This sequence of events, all these events, it is called as parturition or childbirth. Relaxin is a hormone secreted by the placenta and also found in the corpus luteum. What it does is it promotes parturition by relaxing the pelvic joints and by dilation of the cervix with continued powerful contractions. The amnion ruptures and the amniotic fluid flows out through the vagina followed by fetus. So just before childbirth, what happens is amnion ruptures and the amniotic fluid also flows out through the vagina and it is followed by the fetus. Fetus is also expelled out. The placenta along with the remains of the umbilical cord, which is called as after birth, it is expelled out after delivery. After the delivery of the baby, the placenta along with the remains of the umbilical cord, which is collectively called as after birth, that is also expelled out after delivery. So we'll discuss now what is lactation. So lactation is the production of milk by mammary glands. The mammary glands show changes during every menstrual cycle, during pregnancy and also during lactation. Increased level of estrogen, progesterone and human placental lactogen towards the end of pregnancy stimulate the hypothalamus towards prolactin releasing factors. The increased level of estrogen, progesterone, and human placental lactogen towards the end of the pregnancy stimulate the hypothalamus towards prolactin releasing factors. So, to make the release of this the prolactin releasing factors, which stimulate the release of prolactin. The anterior pituitary responds by secreting prolactin. So that due to this prolactin releasing factors, the anterior pituitary it responds by secreting prolactin, which plays a major role in lactogenesis. That is secretion of milk or formation of milk is called lacto. Lacto refers to milk, genesis formation. And oxytocin causes the letdown reflex, that is the actual ejection of milk from the alveoli of the mammary glands. So oxytocin it plays an important role in the ejection of the milk from the mammary gland. So oxytocin causes the letdown reflex, the actual ejection of milk from the alveoli of the mammary glands. During lactation, oxytocin also stimulates the recently emptied uterus to contract. Oxytocin, in addition to the release of milk from the mammary glands, alveoli of the mammary glands, it also stimulates that empty uterus to contract, so that it helps to uh, that uterus to regain its original size, that is pre-pregnancy size or before pregnancy. What was the size of the uterus, that was before pregnancy, so the same size will be resumed by this oxytocin. See, the mammary glands secrete yellowish fluid, which is called colostrum, during the initial few days after parturition. It has less lactose than milk and almost no fat, but it contains more proteins, vitamin A, and minerals. Colostrum is also rich in IgA antibodies, that is immunoglobulin A antibodies. This immunoglobulin antibodies is very much useful to increase the immunity of the infants. This helps to protect the infant's digestive tract against bacterial infection. It increases these antibodies also increases very much the immunity of the infants. Breast milk is the ideal food or the best food for infants, as it contains all the constituents in suitable concentration, and it is also easily digestible. It is fully sufficient till about 6 months of age, and all infants must be breastfed by the mother to ensure the growth of a healthy baby. So, we must ensure that all the infants are fed at least for about 6 months fully. Baby or the infant has to be fed with breast milk at least about for 6 months of age, so that it is very much useful for the healthy life of the baby. Okay, so with that we have completed this human reproduction. So in the next class we'll move on to the next chapter. Thank you.